Welcome to another exciting and informative edition of American Warrior Radio. This is the place to be for news, notes, interviews, and current events for all issues military and veteran related. If you or someone you know has ever worn the uniform of the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, National Guard, or Reserves, you've come to the right place. American Warrior Radio, right here on the Talk to Me station, AM 1300 WMEL, sponsored by AVET Project. Folks, this program is all about supporting our troops and their families, both past and present. So please get comfortable, grab a cup of coffee, maybe a pen or pencil to jot down a note or two, because Glenn and I are always looking to bring you important information that you can use. With that said, let's roll down the runway and get this show off the ground. My name is Garen Cohn. I'm the founder of AVET Project, Air Force veteran, and a retired legal advocate for vets, but I never travel through the airwaves alone.
Good morning. I'm Glenn McGuffey, manager of your Brevard County Veteran Services team, and I'm retired from the Air Force, so we got a couple of blue suiters coming at you today, and that doesn't detract from our other brother and sisters in other uniforms, all of which are warriors protecting our nation and keeping our nation free.
That's right. We're all in this together, folks.
And I believe this week we don't have any special guests for you, but we got a lot of great information about veterans benefits issues, and I think Garen's got a couple things he wants to start off with for you.
Yeah, folks, I want to first let you know that if you have a question, or if as Glenn and I are discussing the topics today, you'd like to make a comment, or like I said, or if you have a question, give the station a call, 631-1300, 631-1300. We don't often have the opportunity to welcome callers, but if you hear something you want to chime in on, please dial us up. Wanted to cover a couple things that are pressing right now. The Welcome Home Veterans Parade this afternoon here in Melbourne, Florida.
Yeah, I think that starts at 4 o'clock, and it's followed by a free band in downtown Melbourne. I guess that's in the old downtown Melbourne area, as I understand it.
Right.
For the band part.
Yeah, New Haven Avenue.
There'll be some floats and everything this afternoon. Bring the family out. The price is our favorite word, free.
That's one of the best parts, but it's a neat way for you folks that are listening. Tell your neighbors, coworkers, or whoever to show up, because it is a local group of folks, private citizens. I think there is one colonel, retired colonel, on the ad hoc committee that put this together, but it should be a fun afternoon, starting at 4 o'clock with, I think you mentioned the concert, Los Lonely Boys, following up with Melbourne Main Street.
Yeah, and some other people were talking to me about them yesterday and said they're going to go and not miss that. I guess that's a really good band. So
yeah, and it's just a way,
and it's free.
Yeah, it's a way to get out there and show your support for those that have served in the military, and particularly welcoming home those that haven't been welcomed home yet. So hey, even Vietnam vets that never got that welcome home.
Absolutely.
Today's the day. That's downtown Melbourne. Welcome home vets. You can find a lot of information by going to avetproject.org.
1600 hours or 4 o'clock for you that don't understand military time.
And if anybody's been listening to American Warrior Radio and watching the website, avetproject.org, or the Facebook, you know that the Brevard County Manatees are doing a military salute for every home game this year. And we still have slots open. This is an opportunity for a active duty member or a veteran to be recognized, not just by having 8 box seats in an air-conditioned room, a meal voucher, beverage voucher, and on-the-field mention, but also a beautiful plaque. And it's all put on through the Manatees, and AVET Project has assisted them in helping put this thing together. There are many dates available. Like I said, they're going to do this for every home game. So if you're interested, particularly on Sunday and Monday, you know, we've got a couple seats some people had to bug out. If you're interested, get online. Send Kim, that's Kim Cohn with the AVET Project, she's the executive director, Kim at avetproject.org. One word, AVET Project. AVET's an acronym, folks, American Veterans Empowerment Team, all volunteer organization. Shoot her an email, Kim at avetproject.org. You can find the information on the Facebook page as well as the website regarding the Manatees Military Salute. It's a great opportunity to get out there, and we want to make sure that our troops get recognized for their sacrifices. As I mentioned, you can feel free to call in 631-1300 if you're interested in that. Before we get into the heart of the matter, though, we wanted to bring them up to date on this new stop-loss date, Glenn.
Yeah, the ever-changing termination date for stop loss.
What is stop
been a-
loss?
Well, stop loss is a program the military had where people in certain career fields that they couldn't afford to let go, people with certain experiences they couldn't afford to let go, even though they had come up on their separation date or their retirement date, whichever, and they involuntarily extended them for a month or two or many months in some cases on active duty to support, in most cases, the war effort in OEF and OIF. And it pays $500 a month for each month that you were involuntarily extended.
And the dates on that covered?
And the dates of service are if you were on active duty and extended anywhere between September 11th, 2001 and September 30th, 2009. That's September 30th, 2001 or ending on September 30th, 2009. It's been had termination dates come and go, and because they're not getting near the people to participate that could and should be getting this benefit from the military. This, by the way, is a military benefit.
Department of Defense.
Department of Defense, because they're the ones that involuntarily extended the people on active duty. You need to go online and look up stop loss. Go to Google or Yahoo or whatever search engine you use and put stop loss in. It'll bring you up how to apply and everything else. But you now have until October 21st of this year. That's October 21st this year to apply. Obviously, there's lots of you out there who are eligible who did not yet apply, and $500 a month is nothing to sneeze at, and you earn this by being involuntarily extended to continue to serve our country in a vitally important role, obviously, or DOD wouldn't be paying this money out for you.
Right, and we're talking a huge sum of money that they know they need to get distributed.
That's correct.
Because they know full well it's owed to these warriors.
Yeah, and they know from how many have applied versus how many are eligible that there's a heck of a lot of you out there that still need to apply. If it doesn't affect you, but you have a relative or a son or a daughter that's been in active duty, make sure they get this information. Again, the eligibility date's September 11th, 2001 through September 30th, 2009. If somebody was involuntarily extended during that period of time, they've got until the end part of October this year to apply. $500 a month for every month involuntarily extended.
You made a good point. If anybody has any question, they can Google it. But they can also call your office or stop in if they have a
absolutely.
question.
You can call us at 633-2012, 633-2012. And if you're listening out of our area, look in the phone book under your county, like, I don't know, let's say Lowndes County. Look under Lowndes County and then look for Veteran Service Office. Don't go look for Veteran Services in the white pages because you'll get the VA number. Mm-hmm. You want your county service officer number because they're right there and they'll be pretty close to you and give you the right help right there.
And we're not just talking about Florida, folks. I don't care if you're in your New Hampshire, Iowa, Texas, wherever. If you know of a military member that was involuntarily held over during that period of time, they're eligible for this. So really push them to do something. I want to get a quick shout out. AVET Project belongs to the Cocoa Beach Regional Chamber as well as the MAC, the Military Affairs Council of that chamber, the only one of its kind here on the Space Coast. And we get involved in sponsoring their monthly meeting. Half the time it's sponsored at a venue off base, and the other half it's sponsored on base. We happen to be helping out on the 18th this Wednesday, and I just wanted to get a big shout out to a couple folks that are really helping us make this a success. This is community business leaders that are supportive of vets and active duty, obviously, as well as military folks that give briefings at these meetings, and it's a fun time. When we get involved, as we did last year when we took the whole thing on out at the Coast Guard, it was a raging success. We're going to do it again this week at the Security Forces Squadron on Patrick Air Force Base, but I just got to get some special recognition out there to Carroll Distributing, who's going to be furnishing the adult beverages, Humana, who's going to be offering some support. We've got Wild Ocean Seafood Market, which is supplying some shrimp. You kind of get a flavor of what we're doing here. We're going to make it more than cheese and crackers, which a lot of guys and gals are accustomed to. Sue Ann's Bakery is going to be supplying cupcakes, and Welcome Home Vet and DJ Jean Marine, who is always there for us with his float and his sound system.
Does a marvelous job.
Oh my gosh, from all the various events we've done, Gene has always been an integral part with his, not just his sound equipment and everything, but this wonderful stage and platform we have, which, guess what? You're going to get to see it if the rain doesn't come in and stop us. We'll be at the Welcome Home
Today at
Vets.
the parade.
We'll be at the Welcome Home Vets Parade this afternoon with Gene's float. And of course, WMEL and American Warrior Radio are here as always. And sponsorships for American Warrior Radio are available. Just call the station or get in touch with us at AVET Project at 321-373-7046.
Give them that again.
321-373-7046 if you're interested in sponsoring this radio program. Very good ad rates, sponsorship rates. We'd love to talk to you to keep this ball rolling because we're an all-volunteer organization. Glenn doesn't make any money. I don't make any money. Our producer doesn't make any money. This is about getting the word out there and helping past and present military members and their families. So if you're interested in doing that, if you run a business, get in touch with us. We can talk some good business and good community support.
Absolutely.
So, Glenn, we wanted to get into some rather meaty matters today that we haven't discussed in some time. What you got on the docket?
Yeah, we want to get you some information about appeals. We want to get you the correct information, not the street information that oftentimes, unfortunately, is wrong and may mislead you and cheat you out of a right, if you will, concerning appeals. First off, to appeal a VA decision, you can appeal almost everything except a medical diagnosis or determination. You can't appeal that, but you can appeal virtually any other action the VA takes that you think was not correct as affects you individually. Now, first thing you're going to get is, first thing's going to happen, you're going to file a claim, you're going to get a decision. That decision you think is unfavorable for whatever reason. You need to come see us so we can sit down and work out a strategy and an appeal. And the first step is you file a notice of disagreement. A notice of disagreement must be in writing, and it must state clearly what you disagree with in the rating decision. You can't just say, reference your rating decision of
I disagree.
14 April 2012, I disagreed. No, you can't do that. You got to specify which parts of that rating decision that you disagree with. And
let me bump in
even
here.
if you do disagree with all of it, you need to specify each and every one of those items, rating decisions that you disagree with. And Guerin has a lot of background in appeal, so jump in there and...
Well, I was just going to say, when the folks get there, after they made their claim, hopefully through your office or some credentialed service officer, maybe even a VA rep or a veteran service organization, they get that decision. Along with that decision, which spells out, or at least it used to, we'll get to that.
Well, that's another day for that.
Yeah, the reasons and bases. In other words, we denied your claim and here's why. In that packet, the very rating decision, there's a statutory obligation for them to include your appellate rights. So
that means it's the law for them to tell you that.
Right. So in there, it tells them specifically. Now, does anybody flip to the fourth or fifth page hanging off the rating decision? A lot of folks probably don't. But
Yeah.
that's how important it is. Yes, Glenn?
Absolutely. And, that's the meat. That's what we are going to help focus on for you and your appeal effort. And our philosophy, at least in my office, is to put the most of the effort in the appeal for you in that notice of disagreement. Because after that, unless you've got, other evidence crops up as the appeal goes along, you can always refer back to that. See my notice of disagreement. This still states my case and the reasons I disagree with the rating decisions. And if you want to say something different at that point in time because some circumstances may have changed, you can add that in anywhere along the way in the appeal. But put the effort in the notice of disagreement. I mean, it can be as simple as I disagree with your rating decision on 14 April 2012 that denied me service connection for my left knee condition.
You identified
You identified what you disagree with, and you made it in writing, and you sent it to the VA, and you sent it within a year of the date the rating decision was mailed to you. That's the time limit on it. That's a first key date.
So let's say they got it today, but they didn't file their NOD, Notice of Disagreement, until April 30th, 2013. They're too late.
They're too late.
See, then you go into a new and material evidence area where you have to bring something new to the table for them to consider reopening the claim. But
Not only new, but it has to meet that material test, which is kind of like, okay, if we'd have had this before, it might have changed our decisions. So.
Exactly.
New is pretty self-evident. That material gets a little murky.
Right, right. But the nice thing about taking the bull by the horns from the get-go, identifying what they disagree with, and then possibly or potentially providing some additional support at that time before it goes back to what's usually a decision review officer with the VA.
Yeah, then that's a good point. You should always, at the notice of disagreement stage, or at least I think you should always, ask for a decision review officer. You'll be given 2 opportunities after the VA gets and processes your notice of disagreement. One is to have a decision review officer, which is a very seasoned adjudication officer in the regional office, not the same one that did your claim before, review it and make a decision, and he or she have the power to change that decision. They can change it to make it favorable to you, what you're seeking. Or you have the option at that point in time to go straight to the Board of Veterans Appeals. That requires submission of a Form 9 along with the notice of disagreement that you've already sent to them. The Form 9 again could be submitted and be as simple as please see my notice of disagreement for my arguments, and there's a block that says I disagree with everything in that decision, or you disagree with and specify. It's not like the notice of disagreement. It's a little more, you can be a little more general with that. I do not recommend you start with the Board of Veterans Appeals. You should start with the decision review officer, because if that continues with an unfavorable decision, you still have the right to go to the Board of Veterans Appeals and have them look at it, and that's a whole different group of people, highly trained in VA law, regulations, and procedures. And I've seen a lot of decisions come out favorable to the veteran from the Board of Veterans Appeals, even though the regional office dug in their feet, so to speak, and would not grant a benefit you applied for.
But you make a really good point, and that is when you get to this, if you disagree with the decision, maybe you disagree with every decision they made, maybe you disagree with one. You spell it out in that NOD, and you want the most local adjudicator, the most closest to you. You want the lowest level that you can get, so you can preserve those rights to perfect your appeal, as they call it, with a Form 9 later. At least you're getting some extra consideration. So they send all that stuff, and hopefully maybe even some new medical evidence or some lay testimony that they got,
Right.
Attach it to the NOD through your office. You forward it on to the VA, goes to a decision review officer. He or she adjudicates the entire claim as if they're looking at it for the first time to see if maybe they could do something differently. And then they publish what's called a statement of the case, right?
That's right. They send you a statement of the case, which tells you what the decision review officer did, what decision they made, whether it be we continue to deny you the benefit you sought, or we have decided that we're going to award that benefit that you sought, and then they'll name the percentage that they're going to put to it, and press on from there. So, hoorah, you've prevailed in your appeal if you get the favorable decision there. If you don't, as I just mentioned, then you can then go to the Board of Veterans Appeals with that Form 9, which you can spend some more time on perfecting your arguments if you feel that's important at that stage, because there may be something more in that statement of the case that you want to latch onto and say, and I disagree with the decision review officer's logic and interpretation of the evidence here and here and here. And so every case has its own individual fact pattern. So there's no template. I can't sit here and give you a
Exactly.
template. We're giving you the process, and the process is time sensitive. You have a year to file that notice of disagreement from when the rating decision was mailed to you. Then when you file that notice of disagreement, you've got a year from then and
To perfect your appeal.
to perfect your appeal, to get it up to the Board of Veterans Appeals. And then if, because the VA takes so long, and they do, it costs you to go over the time period, but not due to your fault, due to the VA's fault, then they will give you 60 days from the date that they notify you of a continuing unfavorable decision to finalize what your arguments, perfect your appeal, and get it to the Board of Veterans Appeals. This is where a heck of a lot of people fall down, because they don't understand that they've got that additional time. Well, they don't understand they only have 60 days. So.
And folks, we're going to continue this conversation on the other side of the break at the bottom of the hour here on American Warrior Radio, sponsored by AVET Project. Stick with us.
We'll be back.